So I'm a neuro-linguistic practitioner, master practitioner, and a master teacher as well. Do you get the sense that I tend to go overboard with whatever it is I do, yeah? I'm like an all or nothing kind of person. We're like in, and then we're figuring out how to swim, or we didn't jump at all. And then, as I practiced more and more in this area, I realized that for some people, there are traumas that will have happened in your life that are so deep that to talk about the trauma would re-traumatize you. And I thought, how do we get over something without having to take you back there in the first place? Some of you will recognize this because for some of you, life has happened. And in a career conversation, you might ask yourself, why are we talking about traumas? We'll connect it shortly if you haven't already. Anyway, so I trained as a hypnotherapist. So I am a qualified and certified hypnotherapist. You are falling asleep now. You will give me no. I'm kidding. Gentleman looked around to see who else is falling asleep with him. I cannot cause you to fall asleep, bark like a dog, or any of those other things that you see on shows. That is not what I do. Part of what hypnotherapy is to just put you in a relaxed and very altered state of mind that allows you to tap into that part of you that is not involved in a trauma. Does that make sense? So in your mind, there'll usually be a set of triggers that will get you to the place where you re-traumatize. That is where that whatever the original trauma was comes up again and you react in the same way. And hypnotherapy is just one of the ways to allow you to access another area in your mind where that does not occur and see what power and potential is available for you there. So that is a little bit about the career run. I didn't always want to be a lawyer. Once upon a very long time ago, I was very young, so I wanted to be a policeman. Who else wanted to be a policeman? A policeman, a pilot, a fireman. I think those were the basic ones. After that, I styled up really quickly. However, arriving at law was a process that was the result of two things. Number one, I'd been raised by a single mother in very, very, very humble circumstances. She's an incredible woman. She decided two things. I know you're looking at me and sort of listening and going, that accent does not sound like humble background, Mama. Please, let us help one another, help ourselves. I'll tell you what this woman did. She had been in a concentration camp when she was 12 years old. And she'd worked it out in her 12-year-old mind that if you didn't sound like you were from a particular region, then people couldn't categorize you, and therefore they couldn't put you in a certain place, whether it was a concentration camp, a certain job skill, or whatever it was. So she paid stupendous amounts of money, about a third of her annual salary, so that she could take me to a school that was an American mission school, so I would never have an accent. How's that for ambition? Why am I telling you this story? Thinking, even as I told you, that our class begins immediately, like at introduction point. What is your crazy, big, amazing goal that would transform you from the labels that presently occupy the space, not just your career space, but your life space? And how could you change them? My mother was setting my brother and I up by taking us to schools where it didn't matter that we came home and we ate githeri and ugali and maziwa mala. What counted for her was the big goal, which was get these children not to be defined by their environments. So many times we are defined by our environments. I'll give you a simple example. How many of you are in the career that you would have chosen for yourselves had you been given ultimate choice? Raise your hands. You are in the career of your love. Look around, everyone else. Raise your hands. There's no need to lie. Don't worry if it isn't. Everyone else, look around. Can you see that you are not alone in being in a career that you had not chosen for yourselves? Can you see that? Oh, wait, stop. Sorry, I forgot to tell you something. In this class, those who are in 101 already know this. Yes is like this. Practice with me. Yes. No, you have to say something. You have to verbalize it. Yes. No. There we go. You're going to be doing a lot of talking with me. I was on radio, which means that you speak to an empty room, hoping that someone out there is listening. So when I am in front of a crowd, I milk it. If you're hoping, you may sit like this and you listen to me. I've got news for you. So, back to the point. Everyone who is in a career that they love, that was their personal choice, put your hands up right now. Everyone else, look around. Your story is not unique to you. If you are stuck in something that you really didn't want to do, or now that you are tired of doing, look around. You are not the only one traumatizing yourself every Monday morning. Thank you, everyone else. Please put your hands down. So, let's talk all things careers. Let me start off with the bad news, okay? How many people are employed or currently looking for employment? Employed or currently looking for employment? Okay, excellent. Fantastic. So define a little bit about the difference between employment and business for me. Quickly, what's the difference between employment and business? It's not like a trick question. It's like very obvious things. It's like, this is a really simple class. There's no like math here. Yes, sir.
When you're employed, you earn a salary.
When you're employed, you earn a salary. When you're in business, you make money off of the profit. Got it. Okay. Okay. Where are we? So, this side is employment. This side is business. Yes? Business owner. So, salary. And this side is profit. Next. What about the benefits? Who gets benefits, who doesn't? If you're employed, you get benefits. If you're not employed, what do you get? If you're running a business, what do you get? What do you get? Profit or losses? Sorry? No, the other ones weren't in that other class. So until you come out of that valley of the shadow of what? Of losses. What else? Yes, other difference.
In employment, you take directives.
Take directives.
What to do.
Uh-huh.
Even if you are in the most executive office,
Yeah.
you have to consult on this.
Okay.
So with a business owner, you decide everything. So no one is going to decide for you,
Uh-huh.
although you can still consult.
Excellent. Okay. Another one? Yes. Uh-huh. Time or no time? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, wait. It's her point. It's her point. You raise your hand up. It's your point.
Like for example, you can decide today I'm not going to work.
Uh-huh. Oh, when you're in business?
No, when you're employed.
Okay. Uh-huh.
You can decide today you're tired, you're not going.
Okay.
And you just text and say,
Okay. No. You will raise your hands. You see. Democratic processes are very difficult in Africa. Uh-huh.
business owner, time is everything. You work, you burn the midnight oil working, whether you're sick or not, you have to work. Time is really
Okay. Here you can text. Here there's no one to text. Someone else has a different opinion. Yes, sir.
As an employee, you're employed.
Yes.
That's employing.
Okay, so this one. So what would we say here? This one receives the contract, this one makes the contract. Yes?
Or determines your career.
This one, that's a very good point. Say it again. Talk about that determination of the career.
The business employer determines your career.
Okay.
And the business owner.
Oh, no. Employee determines career. No.
The business owner determines career, but the employee has someone determining their career.
Has someone...
Has someone influence.
Excellent. Yes.
Most of the employees are normally job fit, but for the business organization.
So job fit, what does that mean?
For instance, I hire you because you're fit for this job. But for the business, this is what we do, so I hire you because you can do what we do.
Okay, so this one is sort of business focused, or okay, organization fit. Organization. There was one more, yes.
In employment, you're building someone's dream,
Mm-hmm.
and in business, you're
Building own dream. Uh-huh.
In the employment, it's more of an 8 to 5 kind of schedule.
Uh-huh.
The other one is you can be flexible depending on your client.
Flexible. Okay. Anything else? Have we captured the big ones? Yes?
In employment, you can learn things or have experience.
Uh-huh.
In business, you have to figure out things.
So you have to do what?
You have to figure out
You have to figure out. So solution, like solution oriented? So let me ask you the question. Which one is more risky? Business is more risky. How many people say business is more risky? We're going to take a poll. How many people? 1, 2, raise your hands up high. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Say business is riskier. Yes? Uh-huh. And now the other ones have to put their hands up because I don't know how many you are in the class. So, one person says employment is, 2 people say, 3 people, 4, 5. Wait first, let's figure out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people think employment is riskier. 7 people think employment is riskier. And one person has a different view. Yes, sir?
Yes, both are.
Both are risky. No, you've got to pick one. You've got to pick one. You got to pick. You cannot have either kule chicken. I'm a vegetarian. Which one?
I'd stick to the employment.
Employment is riskier. Okay. So, one person who has said that business is riskier, please stand up and tell us why. Why is business riskier than employment? Yes, ma'am.
I'll touch on financial risk.
Okay.
So when you're employed, you know, come rain, come sunshine, you have the salary at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a business owner, you can go without making profit. For one, you may be relying on the office rent, and you may be relying on businesses. So yeah, so financially, definitely employment is safer.
Okay, so financially. Other reason? Yes.
In terms of options and choices, if you're running a business, it means you have to stick with whatever happens.
Uh-huh.
If you're an employee, you have an option to remove it from one career to another or rather from one company to another. So you have that choice.
Anything else? Yes.
The failure rate in business is much higher. Actually, almost 50% of businesses fail in the first 3 years.
Uh-huh.
For employment, you could be somewhere, determine your fit, more or less.
Yes.
I'd say in business, it's about the structure. If you're the business yourself, when you get sick, you're the business sick. When you're employed, it's different. If you don't go to work, the work is different.
So it's safer even if you don't turn up. Yes? Here you are the business. Okay, got it. So for those who said that Business is safer than career or employment. Business is safer than employment. Yes.
Okay. My assumption is that you are both have the right skills. Skills for business or the skills for employment.
Mhm.
That is the platform. Then employment is riskier because you have less choices. It's predetermined. Everything is predetermined. With business, you make the right choices. You decide when to take your and you grow at the pace at which you are ready to grow.
So less choice versus more choice, and pace yourself. Yes? The lady in front of you.
Okay, I would say employment, just on the same line of thinking like him. But once I'm employed, I have the skills to generate profit or to do good things to bring advocacy to the company I'm working for. So if I have a business and I'm doing something for myself and set up systems so that the business can continue without me being there physically, I would say employment is more risky because I'll be fixed there and all my energy, all my youthful life will end up building this person's career. But if I transit, if I'm able to transit at my middle career to my business, then I think the business is a lifetime because even after you retire in your employment, this business will take you for holidays, will take care of your medicals. The most important thing is because people work for medical cover, they work with maybe very good consultancy with their safety and all that.
So
Business, if you have children, you will leave it. You know, if they are buying into the same idea like you, or if you don't have, at that time you set it as a profit. That's my take on it.
and the other one, of course, work cannot be inherited. Or sold. Yes? Inherited. Inherited. Anything else? Yes.
For me, it's very comparative, and maybe you'll explain later, because I'm looking at people in different fields or different skills that can only either be employed or have a business. But there are these people who can do both, like top doctors who are government doctors with very well doing clinics, and they're millionaires. But I'm just thinking around that. The risk for them is you will explain it. So for me, it's really, it depends on you, the skill, your career.
So it's dependent on skill. So if you have some skills, it's riskier to be in business. If you have others, it's riskier to be in careers, in employment. Sorry. Yes?
I also think it depends on where you are. Because if you're just starting out, seek employment.
Hold.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Depends on where you are. If or even how you look at it. If you're just starting out, employment might be safer because you're able to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how stable the employment is, you can actually invest in it. It can give you actually run a business myself. But now that's in the short term. But when you're talking about long term, I think business is less risky because that means you have a return. Right now the economy is still rising, so I think you have
We exhausted some of the parameters. One more burning one, yes?
Two more.
Two more. Going about which one is a risk and which one is a greater risk. Let me see. Is there anyone who was convinced before that employment is less risky, that is now convinced that business might be less risky? Is there anyone who has moved or shifted? You've shifted? So the two of you have shifted. Okay. So lady in orange, what were you before? You were, which one is riskier? Uh-huh. You're thinking business is better if you think it in the long term. And yourself? Business is better if you think it in the long term. Anyone else who has shifted, who has moved from where they were, they're thinking something else? Everyone else is squarely where they were, yes? You're thinking business is now better than employment, and yourself?
Yeah, same case, and I just came and remembered a quote I read somewhere. If you can't have people, or rather if you can't earn money in your sleep, you'll spend the rest of your life paying bills. So that actually adds up in the business.
If you can't earn money in your sleep, then you will be
Spend the rest of your life paying bills.
spending the rest of your life paying bills. Fantastic. Okay, so here is, yes?
One more point.
A loud one so that lady over there can hear you.
Is someone who is in business, and they're solely, they are
Meeting. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of bad news straight away and right now. Those who are employed, you're in business. For those who are employed, you're in business. You're in business. Let us test this, okay? This is a theory, let us test it, okay? Every morning, you wake up to fulfill one contract on one client, who you call employer. In exchange for your time, your skill, your expertise, and your bum on the seat, you will receive what you call salary, but which they call percentage job, and you will live happily ever after with a few other things inside there. So it allows you to be in a frame of mind where you do not push yourself harder than you need to, because that would be a bit problematic for somebody who is actually paying your salary. If you actually started having things like initiative, and you started thinking about business growth and development, particularly if you started thinking about Anastasia Inc. and how Anastasia Inc. can grow, that would be a bit of a problem. But right now, all of that which we consider ourselves to be, or those of us who consider ourselves to be employed and who hold on to employment as being safer than business, fail to understand that you are in business. You're in the business of you working for your business, which is to provide a service to another bigger business. You are a business-to-business entity. Do I need to say that again? Okay. Now I can see the upset in the room. What's the upset about? I didn't say it was gospel truth, huh? Yeah, I didn't. What's the upset about? Have you ever considered that you are a business? No? Actually, the class is over. See, we finished. Careers. You are a business providing a service to another business that you call your employer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having come to the class. Now, goodbye. There's nothing more for us to discuss, is there? So go make your businesses a little more efficient and better and figure out whether you actually want to be in that business that you're in, particularly if you have hired yourself to do a job that you did not raise your hand for as being a job that you love. So remember, we did an exercise. How many of you are in the career of your choice? And I think there was a handful, maybe about, did we make 10 people? I think there were about 7. Yes? Maybe about 10 people are. Let me check with these ones because you guys weren't in there. For those of you who have just come in, put your hands up if you're in a career that you love. A job that you love. Put your hands up really high. Really high. Don't worry, you don't need, your employer is not here, so you don't need to impress them. And if your employer is here, tough luck. They can handle themselves for today. Okay? Excellent. Everyone, actually, let's do this exercise again for their benefit. Everyone who is in a job that they absolutely love in the area that they enjoy, put your hands up now. Look around. Those of you who every single day, no, stop coercing other people. If she does not like her job, she doesn't like it. There's some guy over here in the corner going, raise your hand. You can tell that's the employer. I'm kidding. Everyone else, look around. If you are in trauma every Monday morning, and indeed every morning, you can see that you're not alone. Huh? So why would you put yourself in a position where every single day you are doing a thing that you hate to do for a client that you do not necessarily want to be yoked to? What are the reasons that make us do that? This is the Funguarejo session. Rent. Benefits. Bills. What? Titles. Did you put your hand up or were you just like waving generally? Okay, very well. Why is Renee Inc. hiring Renee person to work for ABC company, doing a job that she hates in exchange for an amount of money that she may not feel she is worth? Why? Bills, rent, what else? Benefits, title, what else?
Security.
Security. Inability to put yourself out there and the unknown, lady behind you. The same thing, unknown times 2. Being scared of leaving the comfort zone, tied to unknowns. Known unknowns and unknown unknowns. What you love doing is not bringing any money. Valid? Yes?
You're in the process of discovering your ultimate.
You're in the process of discovering your ultimate career. In the meantime, you'll just do whatever shows up. Yes? Fair enough? Okay. So let's do a little bit of an exercise. Incidentally, you're not going to leave here with like tidy results. If you're hoping like this is the one where you will write notes, then you'll come out with a slogan. I like to manage expectations early. This is not that class. This is a class where I'm going to just disrupt your life. By the time you're leaving, you're like, on a Saturday afternoon, no less. With any luck, your brain should be steamy at the end of this. One of the things that I figured out very, very earlier in my life was to figure out why I showed up. I like what you said. You're in the process of figuring out what your career is. For those of you who love your jobs, you're in an area that is the right fit for you, you love the people you work with. What is it about it that you love? What does it fulfill?
It is because I do something that I'm good at, and also I enjoy doing it. And at the end of it, I feel like I've given a solution and I've contributed to the community.
Bingo. In fact, you got it in one. Doing something that I'm good at, that I enjoy doing, and that I'm giving a solution to the community. Those are the 3 elements of figuring out if you're struggling around your career and you're struggling around employment particularly. Those are the 3 elements of figuring out not just where you should be, but also to a great extent your purpose. What are my skills and expertise? How do I express them best? In what environment? To whose benefit? And to what end? So I talk a lot about purpose. And I talk generally, and a lot of my classes are around how to find your purpose. But you know, career is an extension and it's an outward expression of what it is that you're here to do. Let me say that again. Career is an outward expression of what it is that you're here to do. Whether you're in business or you are, now that we know, whether you're in business or you're in business, okay? Whether you're in business, the one where you have actually hired other people, or you're in business, the one where you're talking to yourself. You know, the one for the one board member, which is you, and one client who is whoever gives you a salary slip at the end of the month. If you can align that, if you can align who you are, why you're here, and what you showed up on earth to do with what you are actually doing, then you've got the sweet spot that turns a job from employment to a career to full self-expression. Does that make sense? Yes? So how do you know that you have a career? First one is, where are you on that definition of yourself? How many of you know why you showed up on earth? What you're here to do, or what your contribution is? Excellent. 1, 2, 2. And that's, by the way, that's a very typical response in the room. So don't feel, oh my God. Because it's an unusual conversation to have. It's unusual to ask the question, why did you show up? What are you here on earth to do? Because most people get told what they're here on earth to do. They don't figure it out for themselves. So when I was in high school, and now I'm going to date myself, I was in those classes that we did everything. You know, everything. You did maths, physics, chemistry, biology, English, history, geography, Swahili, German, French, art and craft, home science, business. What a business. There was like a business class, wasn't there? What was it called? Commerce and business. Throw in another one. Music, agriculture, home science, CRE, and social ethics. Just in case we miss you on one, we will get you on the other one. So I was in that class. By the time we sat our Form 4 exams, I think we sat something like either 16 papers. It was like stupendous. It was like a term of doing exams. You showed up at third term, you began doing exams from day 1, October, November, December. You were sewing something or art and crafting something or blowing up a Bunsen burner or something. And inside all of that, you then went to see a career counselor at my school. And this was an amazing, wonderful, wonderful lady who asked you random questions like, do you like to go fishing or do you prefer to type?
Fishing.
You like fishing? Okay, fair enough. Fishing. Fishing sounds good because I've just come from an exam and I'd like to be outdoors. And then, you know, she had other questions of that nature, but you had to choose. Like, I don't like fishing and I don't like typing. But like you, there was no like third option and you couldn't tick both of them. Like it depends. Like on rainy days, I'd prefer to type. Then on other days, I'd prefer to fish, you know. Those options weren't available. And at the end of this very long series of questions, which were like about 2 hours, she then came up with the careers that you would be good for. So because I was particularly rubbish at responding to those questions, I ended up with engineering and law. But I would also make a very good teacher. So I took those results home. And my mother, who was very, very thrilled, now could foresee like the potential. She did a quick calculation. Remember I told you my mother is like a very long-sighted woman, huh? She did a quick calculation and calculated number of women engineers in Kenya. Carry 1, dx, in bracket, remove BODMAS, equals maybe about 5. And so immediately, my university form, which we filled together in a collaborative process. See, we're collaborated, Amma? Yeah, collaborate with me, it will help. Okay? It read, civil engineering was my first choice. Electrical engineering was my second choice. Mechanical engineering was my third choice. And if I completely failed, BSc. That was how that form went. Happily, because your child should not be like I was, and I pray that mine are not like I was. Between home, where my mother had signed the form, or rather had made me sign it because you had to sign it yourself, and school, where I had to deliver the form had an accident. Any accident, pick an accident. Which accident would you like the form to have? Yeah, rainwater, blown by the wind, Yeah, the dog ate it. I was attacked by thugs who only stole the form. And so by the time I arrived at school, the form had changed. And it now read law, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. Can you see how poor a choice that would be? I'm telling you this story, and I'm wondering what your story is about how you came around to studying what it was that you studied and ended up in the career that you did. It could be that it wasn't your parents, it was an older brother or a sibling, or just a myth around your home. I remember having a coaching client who said to me, in my family, we are accountants. So the choice never arose. There was no opportunity for choice. Because in the same way that she's female and she's black, they are accountants. It's like tribe. Where are you going? We already know what we are. So her choice to go into the sciences and specifically into ICT was like a lark. You're playing with computers. Let's just give you some time. You finish that madness. You go back to doing what we do. If you're sat in a career opportunity or in a job or in a profession or in a training that is not of your own choice, and particularly one that is not only not of your own choice, but one which grates you, chances are you're not in your purpose. You may very well be very successful in that career, make no mistake, because that's an attribute of your ability to just dig deep and just keep plowing at it. Very often you will be miserable. They told you this class would be fun, didn't they? They lied. The good news about knowing that is that you can now actually ask yourself the question, who am I and what am I here to do? And how do I do it best? Remember, where's the lady? Who is it who answered that? Yeah, it was you. Who am I? What am I here to do? What skills and expertise do I have or do I desire? Not necessarily the ones you have, because if I had done engineering, I would have engineering as a competence. And I assure you buildings would be falling in Kenya generally. or short-circuiting, depending on where I would have ended up, or some version thereof. Because it's not an area of, it's interesting to me in the sense that I was good at this stuff in high school, but it's not something that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about buildings staying in place, make no mistake. I'm just not passionate about making them stay in place. I prefer someone else do that, and I just walk in at the point when the building is complete. So here are some of the obvious things about knowing that yours is a career and not a job. First of all, obviously, your training. You won't make medicine if you haven't been there. Your proficiency. The demand. Someone talked about demand. If your job or if the thing that you love to do does not give you money. Your employment opportunities and your career progression plan. But here are some of the not so obvious things that people don't think about. Number one, does it fulfill just some of the basics of your own human needs? Let me tell you something. Every human being has 6 needs. All of us. All. It doesn't matter where we come from. We don't have them in the same proportion, but we all have them. Number one, everyone wants certainty. Everyone wants certainty. How many people here like surprises? People who like surprises, put your hands up. Came home with flowers, bought you a car, took care of, yes?
But those can be terms of a career.
Surprises. People who love surprises. Oh, people like the surprises that they know about, huh? So this is the list of potential surprises that you can surprise me with. Flowers, car, promotion, rent payment, take me out to Mombasa. Other surprises, please don't bring home. Huh? Just keep those ones to yourself. People like certainty. Everyone. Second one, people like uncertainty. I know, I just said people like certainty, right? Like 2 seconds ago. People like uncertainty. If every day you knew everything that is going to happen in your life, exactly as it is going to happen before it happens, what would you do after about 2 years of living the same day out? Why do we have arguments with the people we love, even when we know we're on the wrong? It's fun. It's like, no. How is this going to end? Why do we watch movies that we've watched before? Somehow we're wondering whether we'll be surprised by a new part that we hadn't seen the first 5 times. Why do we watch movies that other people have told us how they'll end anyways? to confirm that their conclusion is the same as our conclusion. We love a bit of uncertainty. If your job or the place where you're in employment every single day is the same thing and there is absolutely no variable, you're not only not growing, chances are it's killing you slowly. Mentally, it's killing you mentally. And physically, oh wow, okay. And physically. And physically. Really? How? You came into work day one. You're coming into work day 100 to do the same thing. By day 1000, if you make it, you're coming in spoiling for a fight just to have some uncertainty. When mbona sasa huku from last night. Your career will give you some version of significance. It's a human need. Someone said title. I'm working because of title. Yes? When I first decided to train as a life coach, so I said this to my mother. I called her on the phone. I was like, yeah, I'm going to train to be a life coach. She's like, okay. So what will you be like? You're running with people? What? I need some more information here to make a value judgment. Try life coach in your mother tongue. Just quickly translate it in your head. It's like you've left lawyer to do sports. I'll bet you for very, very many people, and if you haven't seen it or observed it, do so now. They leave their jobs, whether they're fired or by retirement, and it affects who they are and their self-definition. True or not true? You were a manager. Now you're just former manager. One word. We see it a lot in politicians. You had the flag, then the 1 p.m. news was read in Moi's days and the flag was removed, my friend. Hey. Immediately you have a definition problem. Everyone looks for some kind of connection. It doesn't matter how removed you believe you are. You know the people who are very introverted. Introverts, put your hands up. I know it will only come until you. Oh, well done. Okay. Introverts, 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 introverts. Excellent. Introverts, fantastic. Even introverts need connection. True or not true, introverts? Everyone wants to feel loved, acknowledged, admired, respected, acknowledged by someone else. If they never remember what it is that you do at that place of work, and every single time you meet your boss, he's shocked. Like, hiya, who are you? And where are you going? What, you work here now? And last week it was the same thing. Sorry, hiya. Who are you again? Or they don't remember your name. How many people are employed, or are they in a place where the person who is fairly significantly close to them or they answer to never seems to remember their name? It'll eat at you. All of us are looking for some version of growth. If I'm at the same level 5 years ago as I am today, and there's nothing that has changed, not even the salary, nothing's changed, and there's no prospect for change, and beyond that, what she said, contribution. How is it that the thing that I am doing is making a difference to someone in the world? Any kind of difference, whether it's a profit business or it's an experiential difference. Who am I making a difference to? If your job, career, employment is not satisfying your levels of those 6 needs, and remember I said all of us have all 6, but some of them are not to the same extent to others. So for some people, being connected is very, very important, and you will find that they're the ones who usually bring teams together. You know the person in your office who will always check in on you when you fake sick, called in sick. You know, when you went Sorry, boss. Then you know John at the office is going to call and go, oh, yeah, Aki, I heard you're unwell. Then you'll have to fake it to John as well. For them, connection or significance might be more important, whereas for you, it's not. But if you think about how to determine whether what it is that you're doing is something that you want to continue to do and where it is that you are is a place where you want to continue to be at, look at those. Is it fulfilling your levels of certainty, of uncertainty, of connection, of significance, of growth, of contribution? So I want to pause here and give you an opportunity to think about your own situation, where it is that you are. And ask yourselves and answer those questions. My current career, my current employment, is it fulfilling what I need in these areas? It's an actual exercise. Look down at your papers or look up into the sky, find a response, go now. That is to ask yourself, what would you need in order to feel fulfilled in your career? But first, do the first exercise. How many are done? My current employment / career provides the quantity and the quality of uncertainty, of certainty, of significance, of connection, of growth, of contribution that I need in order to feel complete, whole, and fulfilled. Yes? How many are done? Just show me by a show of hands so that we can move to the next step. Okay, I'll give it a little bit more time. All done? Yes? Preliminary, you do not, this is not like the inquiry that is like, don't worry, there'll be like another opportunity for you to take a look at this. But even as you ask those questions, begin to ask yourself in your own mind, what do I need in order to be fulfilled? I had a boss once, an incredibly successful man. He went on to work in France in a very high board position for a global conglomerate. But I had him for a very short period as my boss here in Kenya. And I remember us having a version of this conversation and him going, you know what, Renee, if I had a choice, I'd be a history teacher. And he had this idea of being a history teacher in one of those sort of schools where you have to robe. And he'd be teaching history. And he wanted, and he knew quite a lot about history, incidentally. He read a lot of books. He knew a lot about war, a lot about different things. But he was in a career that had nothing to do with history at all. About 3 years after that conversation, he had a heart attack. Best thing that ever happened to him. It was mild enough, it was big enough to shock him, mild enough not to kill him or severely debilitate him. Guess what he changed and became? Sometimes we wait for something to hit us upside the head so that we can make the choice that we knew we were supposed to make. If you're wise, then you will learn from other people and you will make that choice without waiting for life to slap you. Those of you who know my story know that life had to slap me severally. Yeah? Life had to enter into like an African mother situation with me. Stupid. Told you. Nonsense. Arr, arr, arr. Here's the next thing. If your career is able to align, or you're able to align your career with your values and your beliefs, then you're in a good space. If you're not, your values or beliefs will either change or you will be unfulfilled indefinitely and constantly in conflict, which means Monday morning and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday will be very difficult for you. Does your chosen career employment align the things that you do and the place that you are? Is it aligned with your values and your beliefs? It's a simple yes or no question. How many people watched that Mara University expose? Mara University expose? Was he the accountant? The accountant. What was going on for the accountant? What was going on for him? Did you watch the internal conflict that is in fact that entire show? And his persistence in remaining in a place where his values every single day were questioned and his beliefs every single day were put to test, and the work that he did every single day was in conflict. And I'll bet you that by the time he got round to getting the recorder, he had now reached a place of such discomfort that he knew that his choices involved one of two things: change your environment or change yourself. If you're in a Mara University situation, and of course this is like a really big sort of comparative, and you're in a space where every single day you have got to ask yourself who you are. And every single Sunday you're in church just crying to, or Friday, or whatever your preferred worship day is, in conflict to the point where you are physically ill because of what it is that you are doing from Monday till Friday, you've got to ask yourself whether yours is a career, in which case you need to change your values to align, or it's a job, in which case you need to make some really tough decisions. Does that make sense? So why is purpose so vital to careers? We've gone through this a little bit, and you may or may not get these slides, I'm not very sure. Career is the outward expression of who it is that you are. Career is the outward expression of who it is that you are. And if you give yourself permission and do the work and stand firm on who it is that you are, you will find that the opportunities open up so that you can express that. I know that just sounds so fluffy. The opportunities will open up. How now? Can you show me like one opportunity opening up directly right now in front of me, not in front of you? Every single person who has started a business and been successful at it will tell you that they were told to jump off the cliff, and then they jumped, and then they hit some rocks, and it was really painful, and it hurt, and they were almost about to fold their business. And then the one deal came in that got them to stabilize. Or they changed something, and it allowed for an alignment with the next thing they had to do. There is no amount of theorizing around this that can help you understand the practical of it. It's like me telling you the taste of mushrooms if you've never had mushrooms. I can explain it. It's like kidogo like chicken, but not quite. It's like, you know, like a young coconut. Before it has like, it's like that, but with the chicken bit in it. I couldn't explain it to you until you taste it or you tested it. When you can align your own individual purpose with a corporate purpose. So when you are working within an environment that allows you to be fully self-expressed, to use your skills, your competencies, your expertise in an environment and in a space that allows you to be fully self-fulfilled, where you are able to give value to others and get value in return, then you'll find yourself in alignment. Don't stop looking for that alignment, because remember what we learned right at the start of this class. You are not employed. Employ is a word that we use to tell those people who we would rather keep to a certain level without them thinking too much for themselves. It's a word it was a very commonly used word, especially in the 19th century, where you needed to be employed so that you would show up at work and churn things out, whether it's paper or go to the coal mine or in front of the mills and get fabric out. Today, in those days, you were employed for real. Not the one we're playing with now. Like, it's not the pretense one, huh? The real one, where you clocked in at the age of 18 and you clocked out at the age of 65. And you, in between, earned various salaries and rose, and then you became the supervisor and the manager, and maybe one of you became the CEO. And when you left, what did you get? You got a pension, a wheelbarrow, and a golden watch. And a djembe to welcome you into your second career. That's employment. That one was like employment. That one for real was employment. And your employer and you had this contract which was like a marriage. It's for life. For the next 40 years, it's just you and me, baby. We're just going to have to work this out as best we can. You might just move from one, which felt like a divorce, and then you moved to the other one, and then now you were hitched with that one, and you continued from the age of 35, moving onwards in a very swift fashion. And the people who it was who experienced that tell you, in today's environment, you should get a job and be employed. That cheese moved. Who's read the book? Who moved my cheese? Read that book. That's compulsory homework, even though I won't teach the class. Read the book, write it down. Who moved my cheese? That life is over. That version of employment is over. If you're hoping that you will be in one job where they will hire you at 22 and the agreement is that you will leave at 65, even civil servants don't do that anymore. The civil service, at some point, the IMF will show up with clever things like structural adjustment programs in the 1990s, and it will say, from here, going this way, go home. This one's going this way, take a pay cut. Or there's no pension for you. Sorry, we ate the pension. Actually, we wanted to give you pension, but tough luck. So the news flash for those who aren't here already is employment ended a long time ago. You're not employed. You just tell yourself that and continue in this conversation. Then you catch feelings when you're fired. Why do you catch feelings? Because in your world, you had a lifelong marriage joined at the hip with your employer, in which you were going to be lawyer, doctor, secretary, office assistant, whatever the title is, and they were going to take care of you for life, including your pension. Not anymore. Not anymore. Today you are a service provider. Your service is to provide the thing that it says on the first letter of the contract that you call your employment letter. Whatever it is. And then in return, they pay you a specific amount, which is the contractual amount, which we all cutely call salary. Which is the amount that they have calculated is the appropriate amount not to your value, but to the specific skill that they are buying from you. When you can align your individual purpose to a corporate purpose, then you deliver an experience for yourself that your customer, called your employer, will return for. This is why some people are headhunted and others just, they send CVs. Huh? You know the difference between the ones who are employed and the ones who send CVs? Akiweye, you look shocked. You're right. Yeah. He looks so shocked, that gentleman. He's like, I didn't come for this one. Hang in there. It gets even worse. So just like companies are purpose-driven, remember the conversation we had with that gentleman, really good one, where the company is figuring out, where were we? Sets up systems, is fulfilling the dream of the business owner, and is providing a service. Yours, you Inc., you being your name, yeah, like Renee, like Anastasia, like Cynthia, like Steve, you Incorporated have got to figure out how you can deliver your service to your one client, because usually we just have one or two, isn't it? In a way that so delights them that they want to keep you and others want to buy your services, called headhunting. If you can think of yourself that way, then it releases you first from having the emotional trauma of being fired after your title had said minister of, and you had a flag and a driver. Because you'll get that the exchange just no longer works for one party. Does that make sense? Yes? And beware, beware, beware. The moment when you talk about the company that you work for as we, in a way that makes you feel that you are the definition of the company, unless you're talking about your own company or yourself. I'll tell you this for free and for nothing, because I've walked down that road. So as I trained to become a coach, and I really enjoyed this, and I really felt this was something that I wanted to do, I stepped away from law for a while. I stepped away from law for actually quite a long time, for almost 10 years, for over 10 years. And I know, Kariwan, times 3. I told you, I will give you the number of the plastic surgeon, relax. In that period of time, all of my colleagues, my classmates, judges who knew me, would ask, for real? Like, you're not a lawyer for real. So what are you? There's some kind of definition that required that for their own minds, they could be at ease with the fact that my career did not, or my profession did not define me. For very many of you right now, your professions, or even worse, the title on your card is defining who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that is the worst thing you can do to yourself. Before you were in that space of employment, were you somebody? Yes. Were you? Yes. Or were you someone who was waiting to be someone? You were like, some, not someone. I'll tell you why that is so dangerous. It's dangerous because if you ever have that taken away from you, and you have no control about whether that will be taken away from you or not, do you today? Today, a decision will be made in a boardroom, or even worse, in a hotel, or even worse than that, on a golf course, and you will be informed. You won't be told between hole 7 and hole 9, we decided that you're surplus to requirement. They'll come on Monday morning. In fact, they won't come. You will be told to go to HR. Or even, I've heard this sometimes, you will receive a WhatsApp message. And M-Pesa. And that's the end. So how can you define yourself that allows you to have power and control over who it is that you are, what services you deliver, what it is that you do, that enables you, Inc., to thank your client for the period that you've been together, and to have opened up enough opportunities that you can be able to plug in or pitch with another client, called seeking employment in like that old 19th century parlance. Are we together? Tuko pamoja? Yes? And here's the thing. In the class, if you do decide to take on the Career Hub program, which I would highly recommend, these are just some of the things that you talk about. So if I walk away from radio, do I have enough of a brand as Renee Ngamau that I could be able to walk in, not just into another radio station, but I could be able to plug into law? That I could be able to plug into advocacy, that I could be able to plug into anything else that I choose, which gives me the freedom and flexibility of Renee Incorporated, taking Renee the person into this new space that I want to experience in my life. Because there is no such thing as work and life. It's all happening at the same time. Because I assure you, you won't die twice. It happens, okay, like you'll die, those two small dying. Like, you know, the one of, I died. I was like, so embarrassed, I died. But like the real one, and so often we're doing these things that we hate to do in these environments that we don't want to be in, and spending time, which means oozing life, saying that one day we will live. No, it's happening right now. See, like right now we're in class together. This is like life happening. It's like another moment. And And that other, life just happened. Align what it is you do, not only to who it is that you are, but what it is that you want out of your life. Is it easy? No. Are we going to do it in the next 45 minutes? No. But if you can get it, it liberates you something special. And I can only tell you that from a, jump off the cliff type conversation. It liberates you. And those who put up their hands and said that they are in careers where they feel that they are fulfilled, have a sense of that liberation. For everyone else, I am hoping you come out of this class hungry to have that experience as well. Because here's the thing. Most people won't have this conversation. This is an unusual conversation to have on a Saturday afternoon. There's any number of things that you could be doing. Getting the nails done, the hair, being out at the pub with the boys, watching. Is there Formula One this weekend? There is? No, there isn't? I don't know. Or football, or any number of things. The fact that you're here, something compelled you to come and to be here today. Don't let it die today. Otherwise, you become one of these little kids, where your employer tells you what to do. Do you remember what you all told me? Where your employer tells you what to do, what time to be there, how to behave, how to respond, to stay fixed in your place, to build their own vision of who you should be, to allow them to create a system that they can sell or inherit. And you bounce in like the little new employee that you are, full of dreams and hopes and aspirations and ideas and innovation and creativity. And before long, because you've got to pay the rent, bills, the title looks good. Let me tell you, do you know in Nakuru they used to have bananas? How many people know Nakuru was a banana producing town? Same as Kisii. You don't believe me, do you? People from Nakuru, raise your hands. Okay, one. There's only one from Nakuru. Two. And then they're shy because we don't grow bananas anymore. Yeah, they would have raised their hands. But in my family, because we weren't very many, first we're not very many girls, we've got very, very many boy cousins, but very few girl cousins. Then I became a lawyer. Do you know that song of Weru Kamu? That's how the bananas got finished in Nakuru. So, you have to cut them down and Marura. And what are those other buses? Turaga. Yeah, people from Nakuru, stop disowning me. You know those buses. Yeah, Turaga of Rimruti. So here you come in, but then your whole social environment goes, wow, daktari. And now, even though you've done a PhD in something that you're no longer interested in, you have to stay there because socially you're trapped. You're trapped by the amount of money that you're making. You're trapped by the car that you drive. You're trapped by the house that you live in. You're trapped by the school, the cost of the school that your children go to. And you have forgotten that if you are creative and innovative and hardworking enough to get yourself there, you can be creative and innovative and hard enough working to get yourself to the next place where you can be fulfilled and still do something that you love. So instead, you stay there and you become a square peg in a square hole, because that's where someone else has defined as the level to which you should reach. I always find, ladies and gentlemen, and this is just my view, I'm one of these 8 people. Employment, that idea even of employment is very risky. It's very risky because it lulls you into a sense of comfort that has no basis in today's business or even social climate. We know that because we're in Kenya. What are the statistics right now of unemployment or underemployment? They're stupendous. And they don't look like they're looking up. Next year, we'll have another 500,000 kids come out of high school, isn't it? Next year, we will have how many students come out of university? and can get this to sit there and be as productive as they can for the short while that they can before another group of 500,000 young, sharp, round, clever, ambitious, creative, innovative kids go into the market. And now, because they don't want to grow their business too much, you, who has been there for a long time and has been very loyal, needs to be pushed out so that we can make way for the new. How do you stay not only so relevant, but so needed and so adaptable that when they're looking around, your client called, fit in your own wherever you're working right now, X business thinks, I don't want to get rid of that one. But also so that others who are looking through the window into your company, the one that you're working for, think, ooh, that's the one we want. Let's offer a contract with a better consideration in exchange for services rendered. The Bible is a fantastic book. I love the Bible. It's a very good book. Don't read it all the time like biblically. Just sometimes read it like a novel. It's got like so many stories. If you just like read that book, like just read it, like for real? Y'all did that? That's like so bizarre. Okay, then read it properly after that, yeah? It's got this rule about loving others. So you know that rule about loving others? What does it say? Yeah, it's not more than yourself, by the way. People who do not read the Bible properly. What does it say? It was a slip of the tongue. Yeah. If you can work for, what's your name? Claire Incorporated. Claire, if you can work for Claire Incorporated the way you work for your employer, if you can put that much energy, time, focus, innovation, verve, support, celebration, if you can put into yourself that much experience and learning, not only will ABC company want to keep you, XYZ company will come looking for you. But you got to remember that you can't give out what you don't have within you, because otherwise you become expendable. I had to put this in because those who have been in that class will know this slide. So we'll come out into the job market, or we're looking for a job, and all of us have the same skills. We know how to make chapo and beans and skumawiki / spinach / managu / fill in the blank, right? Why is it that even though we came out, all of us with the same education, some people will go further or be paid more than others? Sorry? How they package themselves? What else? In how they invest in themselves? How they invest in themselves, how they network. The connections that they make. Yes, ma'am. What value they give themselves. What value they put for themselves. How many people are in the service industry? Service industry. That is that the output that you give translates to service. So like lawyers, for example, service industry. You know that a service can be pegged at 1,000 per hour, and it can also be pegged at 100,000 per hour. True or not true? Yes? How many people, if you're in events, have ever tried to hire a DJ or an MC? DJ or MC. You know that you can get a DJ for 20,000. Okay? You can also get a DJ who will not come out of bed before you have put 200,000 at the door. Payable in advance before I plug anything into anything else. And you will get the speakers and the sound system yourself. That 200,000 is not inclusive of sound. True or not true? True. What's the difference? The music they're playing, is it like the same songs that other people are playing? Are they composing their own songs for the event? They're not, are they? Right? The duration is the same. The 20,000 guy is going to come for 4 hours. The 200,000 guy is going to come for how long? Same 4 hours, because that's what your license is, that's what your event. What's the difference between the 20,000 and the 200,000? Sorry? One is a brand. The other is a what? At your music player. Which one are you? And it doesn't matter where you feel that you are right now. This class is about challenging, because if we knew all the answers, then we wouldn't be here, isn't it? So if right now you are the music player, or you're viewing yourself as the music player, you might want to ask yourself, are you comfortable? And some people are comfortable being the music player and service that market and do so comfortably. You might be a volumes business. But remember that in the case of me incorporated, there's only so much volume that I can do because I'm exchanging time for value. And how many hours are they in the day? And how many workable hours are there in that 24 hours? 14, 16. How many people have 16-hour working days for which you are remunerated? So moms, you can put your hands down. Okay, there's remuneration in love and I don't know what to know, but we're talking financially, huh? So how many on average days do you have, hours do you have to work in a day? 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, then you break for an hour, isn't it? So 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. 8 hours. So if you're in the volumes business, you might want to know how you're going to translate your 8 personal hours into greater volume so that you can make your target. Does that make sense? In this world of economy and finance and life, in many ways, you are a commodity. You're the commodity called a human resource. Do you know what else is a human resource? An energy source. Give me an example of an energy source. Sun, that's renewable. Battery, not so renewable. Fit yourself accordingly. The reason why we will all go to Mama Fiona is because she's at Le Kibanda. Okay, and she has a chapeau d'oeuf, which is a flatbread. It's an Indian flatbread. The other one, the guy of Mashakura, whose chapos have been cut up into little squares. Then they have been put in with chicken, the egg, gith, and skooma. Same product, probably even nutritionally higher because you've got so many varieties of things on the same plate. You won't charge the same for it. So figure out what you're looking to create. Define what it is that you want to do. Define who your customer base is. Once we've agreed that you are a business, or if you do agree that you are, define them. And then look at what it is that you have, what it is that you can create, and what it is that you can do that can grow Fiona Inc., and Kathy Inc., and John Inc., and Brian Inc. into a brand and a service provider that enables you to attract to you not just the amount of money that you want, but the experiences that you want. I once worked for a law firm, and I've told this story to those who are in 101, I think, or maybe not. I once worked in a law firm where you would go to work on Tuesday, and you come home from work on Saturday. Not you come home from work on like Wednesday morning, like at 1 a.m. No, no, no. You come home from work 4 days later. Did we earn well? Oh, hell yes. We were bullied. But as an experience, was that a quality experience? You've got to figure that out for yourself. Because if you're looking to have a career that is reflective of who you are and what you're here on earth to do, then you want to define who your market is and what they look for. There are colleagues of mine who are still at that law firm and many other places like those. And they chose that, and it was a great life for them, and it seems to continue to be a great life for them. They are able to fly out to the Mara at the weekend, they don't have kids, or they're on divorce number 3 and kids are parked with various women. Sadly, the men don't like being parked with the kids. This is just very unfortunate. We shall revisit that one. But you've got to figure out what it is. And that everything, when you look at your career from that point of view, then everything that you're receiving back is feedback to you. When you go for your career appraisal and they're like, you're not good enough for, you're not good enough for, you're not good enough, first start off by asking what it is that I'm good at so that we can also emphasize those ones. And then secondly, just looking and seeing, actually, the systems, the processes internally that I have, that I am employing, are they feeding into my client's needs? So if you're the one of calling everywhere, were we? The one who calls when you're ill or when you don't feel like going to work and it's threatening your career. We had it somewhere, isn't it? Yeah? You might want to ask, if I want to retain this client, what is it that I would need to do differently? Or if I actually do not want to retain this client, I want a 3-day or a 4-day job. What could I do differently? So now you're looking at your systems and your processes. Have I introduced a lot of business language into what should be a career conversation? Yes, because you are a business. Today you are a business. Complete with a PIN number and an ID. In fact, the more important one is the PIN number. Got it? So, in conclusion, well, not quite in conclusion yet. So if you can figure that out and answer these questions in terms of your business or in terms of your career growth, what am I a part of? Where are we going? Who am I? Who am I as a human being, but also who am I in relation to this business? What's important? What's important first to me as Renee Inc., and then to this business, MMNA law firm, Capital FM, Centonomy, whatever your business is, okay? What capabilities do I have and what can I learn? In other words, how is this relationship benefiting me? Your employer is clear how it's benefiting him or her. That's why they hired you. I think that gentleman over there pointed that out. Determines career. They determined your career. When they invited you, they knew the answer already to what capabilities do you have and what are you bringing in. Do you want to retain this as your primary client? Then what could you do differently that could consistently delight them? We're always being told at our places of work, ensure that your client is consistently delighted, overwhelmed by your presence, your service, and the way in which you are doing whatever it is you're doing. True or not true? Yes? You will find great difficulty in delighting a client if you yourself are undelighted. 4 Seasons, I think it's 4 Seasons. You know why they're consistently amongst the top 10 in the Forbes list of best companies to work for? Anyone know? Why? That hotel group. Do you know why they are? Yes, you know, but you don't want to tell me. No, you don't want to know, and you want me to tell you. Which one is it? You know. Okay, you don't know. Okay. Because their motto is they don't focus on clients. They focus only on employees. 100%. They have no focus on clients. They have focus on their employees. They're not the highest paying hotel chain in the world. But you will be hard pressed to find people who will resign from 4 Seasons. And consistently when their employees are interviewed, they will say that their experience of working at the company and the way in which the company takes care of them is the reason why they remain. Even where, in some cases, the pay is so low that this person has to take on a second job. I remember reading, I think it was in last year's review, they were interviewing a barista, the coffee guy. You know, the fancy coffee with flowers and whatnot, elephants on the cream, huh? That guy. And he had a second job. And so the interview was, why not just go for the second job? And and then you'd have a stable job because he was a student as well, and he's holding down 2 jobs. And his response was the experience at Four Seasons. Incredible, isn't it? But think about it as, so, what's your name? Maggie Inc., who has hired Maggie. What is Maggie's experience of working for herself in relation to this client? Some years back, I sit in a little group where every so often we will come together, and you've got to kind of present one of the career challenges that you're having, or business challenges. We don't think of them as career challenges. We think of them all as business challenges. And it was my turn to sort of talk about the challenge that I was having with my one major client. And my one major client was a particular organization that every day I woke up at 8 o'clock to go and deliver my services to. Well, I delivered from about 10 o'clock, but never mind that. And the response from this group was, you need to fire that client. I say what? And they broke it down. And it was things like, look at how stressed you are. Look how much time you have with your children. Look at how you haven't done anything fun for yourself. Look at how every single day is combat. You wake up in the morning, put on like your, what is that in the Bible once again? Huh? You put on your armor. And then you're off to go and see what nonsense today I will be dealing with. And then I come home battered and bruised and angry and upset and emotionally like just cranky. And my kids, who are very excited, are like, Mom, Mom. And I'm like, no, just you stop talking to me. Have you done your homework? Have you taken a shower? Go to bed. Over and over and over again. There's a little kid in the room who's nodding. Can see her. And once you can define that, Maggie Inc. for Maggie, John Inc., Kevin Inc. for yourself, then you know whether that client is a client you want to continue with, or whether you need to start making strategies to fire your client. It's called a resignation letter. So what do you get to learn a lot more of in this class? In the course, not in this class. What's your big picture? It's the stuff we've been talking about. How do you move from the things that you're doing every day that have you upset to creating a purpose and a belief and being solid in the values of who it is that you are? How do you take the actions that will move you from where you are? What different actions will you need to take to move you from where you are? What same actions will you need to retain that will delight your one client? Or that will need to disappoint your one client because you're no longer going to be doing that? And how do you change those actions into behavior and patterns and values? And ultimately into identity. So here's the thing. I think you all got one of these, isn't it? So the Career Hub conversation is this conversation and more. It's understanding yourself as a resource. You are a service provider. And then finding the right connection. It's knowing and understanding your strengths, building a brand that allows you to always be relevant in the market and not disappear in it. Creating some kind of social capital. One of you said networking. It's amazing how networking will build you. If there is one skill that they should teach in school, it's how to create elevator speeches, how to be personable, even for introverts. So that at any given point, you're so propelled by what it is that you're creating that you'll find a way to come out of your shell and go and meet with people. And how to pitch for yourself. how to pitch for yourself. Do you understand? How to pitch yourself, your business, for yourself first. Because that skill you can translate to pitching for a client. And also then, how to use all of the tools that are at our disposal today, technological and others, to just help you grow, you Inc., into what other people will look at and say, what an amazing career. Because you took care of business first. So I would urge you to sign up. I think it's a good thing. I wouldn't come back and take this class on a Saturday if I didn't think that it is. I think you'll get great value out of it. But even if you don't, today I would challenge you to go back to where it is that you live or wherever you're comfortable, sit down and have a meeting with yourself, you, your cup of coffee, and your self-internal conversation. And define you incorporated, and define you as a person and the service that you're providing, and look at your client and see how better can I serve this client to our mutual benefit, and how can I retain a presence or build a presence big enough that other potential clients who I want to attract in the marketplace will look for me or someone like me.